Minecraft. Most people know Minecraft as a game where you explore your world and its biomes, harvest and mine resources, and kill enemies to level up and enchant your gear in order to progress. But of course, this isn't the only way to play the game. Instead of gathering resources and XP manually, which is incredibly inefficient, you can instead opt to create an automatic redstone farm to gather resources for you. As you can see in the background, I am a fan of this way of playing the game. One of my first decisions on my most recent survival world was to make an iron farm. Silentwisperer's iron farm to be precise. However, I made it also a trading hall so I could sell the iron I made back to the villagers in order to buy diamond iron weapons without ever mining diamonds underground. I sell the iron to the armorers, toolsmiths, and weaponsmiths. Building farms like this one and others got me thinking, is there any way I could combine these and other farms into one giant automatic farm? I looked up this question on YouTube, and to my amazement, no one had made a video about this question yet, as far as I could tell, despite there being a lot of auto farm YouTubers out there, like my personal favorite Silentwisperer. So I decided to make a video on it myself, and come up with a few rules to guide myself through this task. First, I wanted all the farms to be fully automatic. I should not have to interact with the farms for the most part in order for them to operate. I allowed myself to include farms that may need periodic maintenance, such as an auto wool farm that needs replacement shears every once in a while, but no farms where I have to attack enemies manually or even flip a lever to turn them on. Next, the farms have to be connected in some way. Imagine a crop farm and a bee farm combined into one, where the bees have to fly over the crops to reach flowers in order to make honey. These farms would be connected, as the pollinated bees would fly over the crops and potentially fertilize them. To get inspiration for this task, I logged onto the old Minecraft Realm server my friends and I used to play on. I had my friend send me the world file, walked over to the industrial district, and looked at all the farms that I made in hopes of finding farms that I could combine. I looked at the auto bread and potato farm, the melon, pumpkin, and kelp farm, the raid farm in the distance, and my proudest creation, the zombie piglin farm. And with that, I logged onto my creative world and got to work. I decided to start off with an iron farm. An iron farm has multiple outputs being iron, poppies, and string from cats. In addition, I knew it could be combined with a villager trading hall, so I thought it was a good start. First, I built the initial level, which was easy enough. Then, I made 20 separate villager pods. In Silentwisperer's farm, the 20 villagers are traditionally divided into 3 separate pods. 2 of 8 villagers and 1 of 4, but that means you can't trade with them. I put the villagers in using spawn eggs, but in survival, you should really use minecarts with activator rails to eject the villagers at the appropriate time. If you want a tutorial on how to make a combination iron farm and trading hall, let me know because I won't be going into too much detail in this video. Next, I placed down the 20 beds for all the villagers to link to, and did the same with the workstations as well, organizing the villagers by profession. Then I added the second level of the farm by placing blocks on top of the beds, and spawn-proofed the sides. Then I added water in the inside to flush iron golems that spawn down into the killing area, and I worked on the killing area itself, placing down hoppers to collect the iron, and lava to damage the golems. For some reason, the iron golems weren't spawning, and I was confused, so I turned off the always day mode, and realized I placed 21 villagers in the farm instead of 20, and after fixing these errors, the farm worked. For the second farm, I tried to separate the cats from the iron farm in order to make a separate string farm, but it didn't work out. The cats got stuck in the hopper when I tried to lure them up with a rabbit, and they didn't run into the pit of water I made to extinguish and push them. After failing to make a separate string farm, I just moved on to the next idea, an automatic potato farm. Traditionally, farms involving villagers can't be too close to one another, or else they break, but I thought if I put the potato farm inside of the iron farm, it might work, so I started construction above the top level of the iron farm. In his own video, Silentwisperer says not to place any villager-related items, whether it be beds or extra workstations, near the iron farm or else it won't work. However, I ran into another problem. It had been months since I last built an automatic potato farm, and I couldn't remember how exactly to make the collection system. I put in the first villager and the second villager, the farmer, without completing the collection system. I also replaced a brick ceiling with a glass one so I could see if the farm was actually working or not. If you didn't know, here's how automatic potato farms work. In the farm, there are 2 villagers and 3 beds. Since there are more beds than villagers, the villagers try to breed, but in order to do so, they must both have enough food. The farmer harvests potatoes and tries to throw them to the second villager, but instead, the hopper minecarts pick them up for you to collect. I added 2 of the beds to the iron farm and the third on top, and went back to the old realm to look at the collection system I made. Turns out I didn't put the trapdoors in the right place. Wait a minute, I don't have this many subs. Just when I got back to fix the collection system, the farmer tried to pass potatoes to the other villager. The farm was working, though it wasn't fully operational. It took me an unnecessarily long amount of time to move trapdoors and reinstall the minecarts, as evidenced by the double pistons, but eventually I successfully fixed the collection system. However, throughout the process of making the farm, I noticed that no iron golems were spawning on the top level of the farm anymore, so I decided to spawn one and see if it would fit as a test. It probably could have fit if I spawned it in the right place, but I decided I needed to reduce the size of the potato farm anyway. Though it made the potato farm less efficient, iron golems were able to spawn on the top level again. I then moved on to making an automatic dispenser for the potatoes. This dispenser would drop harvested potatoes lower down and eventually into a smoker so the potatoes could be cooked. I learned this automatic dispenser design from Hydra, so be sure to check out his video. I wired up the dispenser and it began to shoot up potatoes, but I needed them to drop in one spot consistently in order for them to be collected. I learned this technique of placing a stair over the dispenser/dropper from Silentwisperer's raid farm video, link in the description. With the potato farm done with the exception of the potato cooker, I moved on to making the honeycomb farm. I put the flowers on the right side of the farm, with the idea being that I would place the hives on the left side, so bees would have to fly over the potatoes to get back to their hives, fertilizing the potatoes on their way back. However, I hadn't actually made a honeycomb farm before, only an auto-bottled honey farm. It turns out that the two farms are completely different from one another. First, I tried making an item filter so that the hoppers would only take the honeycombs out of the dispensers and not the shears. It turns out this was not necessary, as the honeycomb does not get stored in the dispensers like honey bottles do when harvested, instead they are just randomly flung into direction. Additionally, the bees kept exiting the hives outside the farm, as the redstone comparators did not block their access to the outside, so I built ugly barriers to stop them from escaping. The first issue persisted and caused me to destroy what I had made and settle for a completely different design. The dispenser harvests the honeycomb from underneath, when triggered by a daylight sensor whenever it becomes nighttime. The hoppers underneath catch the honeycomb and store it in the final hopper. Unfortunately, I built this all off camera because I had wasted so much time trying to perfect the previous design, I turned off the recording because I was taking way too long. I could have added multiple of these bee farms, but at that point I was done with making bee farms and I wanted to move on to the next type of farm. I'm going to call it here for this episode. So far we have an iron farm/trading hall, an automatic potato farm, and an automatic honeycomb farm. It's not much, but it's a good start. Next episode I'm going to be adding several more farms, starting off with a bamboo farm. Additionally, I hope you guys enjoyed the new content and format of this channel, as my first two videos have been my Mesopotamia build, and this is the first video I've posted that hasn't been the intro video or a Mesopotamia build. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and be sure to catch the next episode where I continue this farm.